And I wanted to talk a little about what you thought, Norman, of the away end yesterday, because I've seen some criticism, to be honest with you, from people that I know and respect. It's a hard one for me because it's so bad on the pitch. It's so bad, particularly in the second half. Like, I've heard the argument the away fans needed to get behind the team to make sure that the team were up against it. But it's like it's not even like it was backs to the wall defending. It wasn't. It was Villa could probably score again if they wanted to, but they know they don't need to score. Like, how do you think you can vocally affect that? That's what I felt in the second half. And there was a lot of daft songs. There was a lot of young lads there because it was the first, it's the first away game, proper away game in a long, long time. But there were songs about Adam Johnson. You know what I mean? That's no good. Like, little things like that do annoy me, but they are just little things. So I didn't want to be hypercritical of 3,000 people because of stuff like that. But Norman, how did you say it, mate?
Truthfully, mate, I didn't really take much notice of the away end, and even though I was part of it, I think I was more focused on the pitch, what was happening on the pitch. It didn't necessarily register. One thing I'll see a positive is that when the players took the knee, I didn't hear any booing. In fact, all I heard was applause, and that was really, really good to hear. You can't just you can't engender like hope and optimism from nothing. You can't just look at it and go, all right, the lads are on the pitch. All of a sudden, we're gonna inspire them. Like, they've got to give you something back. It's, as I say, it's a two-way process, and there was nothing, unfortunately, on the pitch. I mean, the Wilson chance was great, but ultimately, if he'd scored, he probably wouldn't given offside, and I think that's harsh to say. But I think there was a offside or possibly for a foul. There was, that might have happened, but it was a moment. It was a good moment. We started singing when it happened. But it was flat. I mean, it was relatively flat. But again, that's just reflective of the performance on the pitch. It's very difficult to be really loud and boisterous and really positive when what you're seeing in front of you doesn't actually give you anything. And I suppose for fans to say it's up, for other fans to say it's up to the fans to inspire their players, I don't think that's how it works. I think we can be part of the process, but the players themselves have to get inspiration from their fellow teammates and from the coaching staff and the managers.
I think from an armchair supporter's point of view, you couldn't really hear much yesterday. And normally on TV, especially at Villa Park, you can hear the away support. You did hear the Adam Johnson song. You did hear the odd chant, but it didn't seem to be as supportive as what you would expect it to be. And maybe the apathy word's probably overused now. But if it's there, perhaps the fans have just thought, you know what, it is all about the day out now and seeing me mates. This is what we've got. What we're paying essentially an extra 30 quid or whatever, then your coach or train and hotel to basically get pissed with your mates. That's essentially what it's all about. I mean, David Kelly was there yesterday. The pictures were doing the round, the videos doing the round. For me, he would probably think that the support is unrecognisable from when he was at the club 30 years ago, because the Newcastle support used to all be out about singing about Newcastle. It was Newcastle, it was Geordies, it was Blaine Races. Yes, there were songs about Sunderland, but there were songs that meant something. Yeah, it just didn't come across a typical Newcastle on the telly away support, lads.
If you look at when you were younger, Mark, and you were younger, Norman, in the Keegan era, there was a lot to be proud of about supporting Newcastle. Now we've only got the support. That's it. Do you know what I mean? That's it. It's like I look at Brighton yesterday. I look at Palace yesterday. A lot of empty seats. And Brighton and Palace, different things happening. But they've brought in a manager who wants to play good football. Brighton, they finish below us next season, but God, they play football. They create chances. They had a great start of the season, and we won't sell out against Southampton or unless actually sells the club in the next 6 days, which are unlikely. I'll say that. So I'm not saying it's look at us. But we're still getting 50,000 against West Ham, despite everyone who's walked away, despite everything that's happened, and that's all we've got to be proud of. And it's very hard to instigate a kind of subculture around that, because it's not really worth singing about, is it? It's not really worth hanging your hat on. And honestly, I look at some of these young'uns who go these days who've only ever known Ashley, and it's like, I was speaking to a lad last week, and he's talking, you were there at the Sunderland game, the 1-0, Ryan Taylor over the wall. And I was like, you know what, I was, mate, but I wouldn't, and it was a good day, but I wouldn't put it in me top 10 days watching Newcastle. And to him, this was like the game. This was the game he wished he was at. I think, I might be wrong, Norman, I think that the anti-Bruce song that was gathering pace was just before the penalty, non-penalty. And that kind of stopped it dead there. But it was there. And Marc's just put in our chat here that we've got, what was the reaction at full time? And it was loud boos. Now, how many away games have we been to between when people watching and listening to this? I've seen Newcastle get beat countless times away from home and play shite, not just under Steve Bruce. Very, very rarely is there boos from the away end. That there was a lot of boos yesterday at full time, and those boos will mutate into something much louder and more aggressive if we see more of these kind of performances, Marc.
The hardcore support just isn't there anymore. And these new people coming in, good luck to them. But I don't know. Again, we could probably do 100 podcasts on talking about old players' songs and trying to educate people in a way to make them realise that singing Sweet Caroline at the end of the match isn't what going to support Newcastle's about, in my opinion.
I agree with you, Marc. Just to come back quickly, I didn't even plan to talk about this in the pod, so I'm pleased we've gone into it. The championship season under Rafa, and even the championship season under Houghton, it's like those seasons were like regenerative for the home support as well and the away support, because you're winning football matches and you're scoring goals. And those like cult hero and subculture type things that I'm talking about, they happen when you win games of football and you play well. And Norman put a great point in our chat here that actually when Rafa Benitez was here, they all were, you know, the songs about him were brilliant. We're Newcastle and we're going to win the league. You know, I remember away games in the championship season, you needed 60 points to go to Forest. You needed 80 points to go to Leeds. You didn't need any points to go to Villa. You won't need any points to go to a lot of away games this season, if not all of them, maybe Leeds, I'd imagine. So those fans are still there because it was the same under McLaren. It was the same under Carver. People were saying the away support was shite. People were saying, who are these people here? It's a younger crowd, which is natural, by the way, and fair enough. We want a younger crowd because you want new generations of supporters coming in. But so it can happen very, very quickly. I don't think Steve Bruce is a good enough manager to manage in the Premier League. I don't want to be our manager anymore, and I've been on the record several times. I still travel with Norman down to Villa Park to support his team, you know, so it's not like we're not putting in the yards and getting behind them, and we're very vocal. I know everyone isn't, but us three on this podcast here are pretty vocal, and we'll support the team. We do sing songs, we do get behind the team at matches. Someone said to me yesterday, or I think one of the two lads me and Norman were with, by the way, one of whom was at Derby that day, Marc, so said he should do a podcast with you. One of them made the point that it's so bad right now in terms of enthusiasm, besides return of the match, coronavirus and stuff like that, that actually if Bruce was sacked and they brought in a new manager, even if no one knew who he was, probably better if no one knew who he was, it would just galvanize people. Instead of what you've got now is every defeat like this. To some, you've got a split. Some people are like, oh, it's only 2-0 last minute. We played all right in the first half. What is going on about? Stop being negative. And then you've got the other side of it, which is fucking hell, not being negative. That's the 50th time I've seen Bruce play that exact game. He's only been here for 90-odd games. Like, so we're concerned about the same thing. So you've got this mini divide, and then you've also just got this apathy, which reigns, particularly about Steve Bruce, Norman.